For every swing, every moment, the Milwaukee Brewers fight. It's not just about hitting the ball, it's about leaving a legacy.
This is Brewers Fan Central, your #1 source for everything happening in the Milwaukee Brewers universe. Before we dive into this exclusive and detailed analysis regarding the future of our rotation, I would like to extend a special invitation to you, the loyal fan of the Brew Crew. If you value credible information, deep analysis that goes beyond the obvious, and want to stay ahead of the curve in discussions about our team, subscribe to the channel right now. Turn on notifications to ensure you're the first to know when bombshell news like this breaks. Join our community and let's build the best space for Brewers fans on YouTube together. The Major League Baseball offseason is often a game of chess played in closed offices where millions of dollars and the futures of entire franchises are decided with a signature. However, what we witnessed this Tuesday regarding the Milwaukee Brewers was a move that caught much of the industry and perhaps even our own front office by surprise. Brandon Woodruff, one of the pillars of our rotation and a recent icon of the franchise, accepted the qualifying offer QO of $22.25 million. For many analysts, and here I align with the view of MLB.com's Mark Feinsand, this was undoubtedly the most surprising decision among all the qualifying offers extended this season. The scenario seemed set for Woody to test the open market, seeking a multi-year contract that would guarantee him long-term security. But reality imposed itself in a fascinating and financially complex way for Milwaukee. Let's analyze the facts with the precision the moment demands. Woodruff opted not to risk free agency with the draft pick compensation anchor attached to his name, a burden that often depresses the market value of veterans. By accepting the QO, he guarantees a substantial annual salary but places the Brewers in an intriguing position. The question echoing through the corridor of American Family Field is, did the front office really expect him to accept? The strategy of offering the QO usually aims at two things: retaining talent for 1 year at a high price, or, more frequently in the case of small market teams like ours, harvesting the compensatory draft pick when the player signs with another team. Woodruff's acceptance suggests that the market, in his and his agent's view, might not have been as warm as expected, especially considering the current landscape of available pitchers. It is crucial to dissect the physical and technical context that led to this decision. Woodruff proved his shoulder is healthy following his 2024 surgery, which is excellent news. However, the underlying data tells a story that scouts and league executives certainly noticed. Although he remained elite in terms of effectiveness, ranking in the top 10% of the league in strikeout and walk percentage in 2025, there was a tangible shift in his arsenal. His fastball, which once terrified hitters, averaging 96 mph, registered an average of 93 mph this past season. In modern baseball, where velocity is often overvalued, this 3 mph drop may have been the deciding factor that caused rival teams to hesitate in offering the type of long-term contract Woodruff coveted. He intelligently bet on himself. Take the guaranteed money now, prove he can dominate with the new velocity for another full year, and try the market again in 2026 without the strings of the qualifying offer attached. For us Brewers fans, this creates a dichotomy of feelings. On one hand, having a pitcher of Woodruff's caliber back in the rotation is technically a luxury reinforcement. He knows the system, is a leader in the clubhouse, and even with reduced velocity, has shown he knows how to pitch and get hitters out with intelligence and precision. On the other hand, the surprise mentioned by experts like Feinsand indicates that the Brewers' financial planning may have been turned upside down. The front office is now forced to accommodate an elite salary that perhaps wasn't fully accounted for in contingency plans for 2026, forcing an immediate reevaluation of how the rest of the roster will be constructed. Now, we need to address the elephant in the room, the direct financial impact and the strategic ramifications of this acceptance for the Milwaukee Brewers payroll. We are not just talking about the $25 million from the qualifying offer. The math is heavier. Remember that Woodruff declined a player option earlier this month that triggered a $10 million buyout. Adding the accepted QO to the buyout, we are looking at a total financial commitment of $32.025 million guaranteed to Brandon Woodruff through 2026. For a franchise that operates with the rigorous fiscal discipline of Milwaukee, where every dollar is scrutinized and cost efficiency is the mantra, this figure is astronomical for a single player, especially a pitcher returning from a recent injury history. This financial reality inevitably leads us to the Freddy Peralta situation. Until yesterday, speculation revolved around how the Brewers would fill the rotation. Today, the question has changed. Can we afford to keep Brandon Woodruff and Freddy Peralta together? Publicly, the front office and team ownership have suggested they have no intention of trading Peralta, treating him as an untouchable piece. In theory, the prospect of having two All-Stars leading the rotation in 2026 is any Brew Crew fan's dream. Imagine a playoff series with Woodruff and Peralta in Games 1 and 2. It's a winning formula. However, my experience covering front office moves, inspired by the cold analysis of sources like John Heyman, tells me that in Milwaukee, untouchable often has an asterisk attached to the budget. Woodruff's decision forces the Brewers to a crossroads. The qualifying offer was a calculated gamble that, in a way, failed if the goal was the draft pick, but won if the goal was on-field talent. Now, the general manager and his team need to be creative. Keeping both pitchers would consume a disproportionate slice of the payroll, severely limiting the team's ability to reinforce the offense or the bullpen in free agency. This reignites, whether we like it or not, the trade rumors. If the payroll is too tight, Peralta, with his extremely team-friendly contract and high market value, paradoxically becomes the most logical asset to be moved if the goal is to restock the farm system and relieve the payroll, as Woodruff is now an expensive asset that is difficult to move immediately without salary retention. Furthermore, we must consider the message this sends to the rest of the league and the fans themselves. If the Brewers keep both, it will be a rare statement of intent that the competitive window is wide open and that the franchise is willing to spend above its comfort zone to fight for the NL Central. Conversely, if this move is followed by the trade of Peralta or other veterans like Devin Williams, it will be clear that Woodruff's QO acceptance was a bump in the road that forced an unplanned restructuring. The market dynamics have changed. With Woodruff secured, rotation depth is assured, but financial flexibility has evaporated. The front office will have to operate with surgical precision in the coming weeks, looking for bargains and perhaps making unpopular decisions to balance the books. In summary, Brandon Woodruff's retention is a technical victory on the mound, but a complex challenge on the cost sheet. We have an elite, adapted, and intelligent pitcher guaranteed for a year, but at the cost of significantly compromising the team's financial flexibility. The market surprise could turn into our greatest strength or our biggest bottleneck, depending entirely on how the front office manages Freddy Peralta's contract and the rest of the budget in the coming weeks. I want to hear from you, Brew Crew fan. Given this scenario of $32 million committed to Woodruff, do you believe the front office should make the financial effort to keep Freddy Peralta and form a duo of aces, or do you think now is the time to trade Peralta to maximize the return in prospects and relieve the payroll? Leave your opinion in the comments below. It is fundamental to our discussion. Don't forget to like the video If you enjoyed the analysis, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any details of this offseason, which promises to be one of the most eventful in recent Brewers history. Let's follow every pitch of this negotiation together.